everyone, hey all, welcome back to the channel, and this one, stick with me, is a little bit of an oddity today, but you know what, I think it's going to be fun as we head into the weekend. You see, very recently, at a local grocery store called Dominion, some places in Canada might know it as like Atlantic Superstore, some places just know it as Loblaws. Anyway, they have a section that has a number of different like franchises and toys and games and that sort of stuff within it, and very oddly I discovered these two. Yeah, I know, we're going back to 2008. On the shelves I saw the Legends class G2 Megatron and Jazz, and it got me thinking, since on loan from Maximal 10 we have a number of these from that era, I thought we'd have some fun, and we're going to do not one, not two, not three, not four, but 10 reviews in one today, in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel, welcome to the extravaganza. I am your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light up my baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is linked in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course you can hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is, like I said, a couple that oddly I found, I like on the pegs. They were on the pegs for, as of now, right now, 2023, on the pegs for $5.99. I said, I don't know if that is a modern day price or if that is an original price, because I only picked up one of these many years ago, being Starscream, on sale for $2.99 from Toys R Us. So I said, you know what? If I was to take $5.99 Canadian and account for inflation, that $5.99 in the modern age would be $8.26. So I said, I'll split the difference. I'm going to say that these are $7 Canadian. Right? I'm going to split the difference and say that these are about $7 Canadian. And I think it's interesting to kind of look back at these, because sometimes we look at where we've been to see where we are and potentially where we are going. And I'll sort of, as we do the 10 of these, spoiler, Jazz is going to be one and Megatron is going to be one, but as we do the 10 of these and have a little bit of fun, I'm going to like kind of talk about what was good about them, what was weak about them, but more importantly, I'm going to talk about where we've evolved to, sort of, kind of, in a more modern context. To be fair, only 9 of these are from that era. To round it out to a nice even 10, I'm throwing in a look at Legion class Arachnid, cause, you know, why not? So without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and have a little fun? And yes, indeed, I make a promise and I try my best to deliver on it. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 reviews. And I stuck in the Arachnid just to round it out to 10 reviews in one. And this is going to be very interesting, as I said already. Very odd that in the last couple of months at, you know, a grocery store of all places, I've seen both the G2 Megatron and this Jazz for $5.99 Canadian. Now, I mean, these came out in 2008. What they were doing on the shelf of a toy section of a Dominion grocery store, or, I mean, you might know it as Atlantic Superstore or just Loblaws if you live in Canada. What they were doing on the pegs there, I'll never know. But it does make for a very interesting discussion when we compare it to current core class offerings of things. To be fair, by rights, something that would have cost $5.99 in 2008 when these guys came out would be equivalent now, according to the inflation calculator for the Bank of Canada, $8.26 Canadian. But the grocery store was selling these for $5.99. I can't remember what they were back in 2008, but I do know that I got one, and it was the Starscream, I don't know where he is now, for $2.99 at Toys R Us. So we're going to kind of split the difference between the $5.99 that may have been an old price and what the current $8.25 or $8.26 would be. We're going to say that these would be about $7 Canadian nowadays, roughly. And it's interesting because here in Canada, the going rate for a core class is somewhere around $16.99 to $18.99, depending on where you're buying it. So we're gonna say $17.99 for a core compared to $7. Is there a $10, $11 difference in value from these old lads? And, well, lass, I guess, in terms of Arachnid, and some of the newer offerings. This is going to be a fun one. I'm not going to score these the way I would normally score them because they're kind of so aged by now, but we're going to have some fun. Let's get the Arachnid out of the way first. And here we have Legion class Arachnid. Now, for those who don't know, Legion class was smaller than Legends class. Legion class were very tiny. In particular with Transformers Prime, when you had a Legion class offering of a character as slender and svelte as Arachnid, it was going to be small. And she clocks in, get this, at 7 grams of plastic. I mean, I skipped her over, and, you know, I'm looking at these because these are on loan to me from Maximal 10, including her. She gotta be better than the Deluxe, because the Deluxe Arachnid, which I'll probably put a card to, is just trash. Nice little plane, or helicopter, I mean, and, like, her rotors go around, no problem. It's pretty cool. I don't have any instructions for this, so we're gonna see how this goes. I'm gonna say split those legs on the back, and bring the cockpit section up over the head. We're going to pick up, I'm going to say, these pieces on the side? These pieces on the side. Yeah, let's do that. We're going to pick up these pieces on the side if I can. Oh man, this is not the easiest thing in the world to be dealing with here. There we go. Got those picked up. Her head's up there. Let's see if I can get her arms out, because they're kind of in behind her. Kind of, sort of in behind her. Again, remember, I don't have instructions here, so I'm very much doing this blind. Yeah, they come out. I'm pretty sure that this is supposed to open more. I feel like this body is supposed to open a bit more than what it currently is. Oh, that opens back, that opens out. Yeah, that's an arm out, and this is... Can I get this arm out? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Got both of those arms out. I'm gonna guess, yeah, I bring that head down. And I'm gonna say, boom, in the end here we have Arachnid. Oh, that's probably really after going out of focus. In her robot mode, and she actually stands better than her Deluxe class offering. Boy, oh boy, is she ever so tiny. So the transformation is probably smoother than what I did with the arms. I'm sure that it is when you have the instructions. It's not a bad transformation, really. I mean, the arms are a little fiddly, sure, no doubt about that. But I guess it's fine for what it is. In terms of her look, she looks like Arachnid. In terms of her articulation... Well, Legion class were kind of famous for having somewhat limited articulation. The arms can go... Ooh, that one just popped right off the ball joint. Okay, I guess it's supposed to be able to go all the way around. I'm guessing? I'd have to look at that a bit more. The head doesn't really do much. The legs, though, can go all the way forward, which is nice. And back until they hit her stuff. And this is actually wider splits than the Deluxe. Nevertheless... This is not my version of Arachnid. This is my version of Arachnid, the APC Toys Night Countess. She's splendid. Maybe I'll put a link to her review up in the corner or something. But as it is, I think that the Legion Class 1, despite its imperfections and despite me popping a ball joint on the shoulder, is still better than the Deluxe. But that's not saying much. If the Deluxe was a 1 or a 2, because it's not good, this is still probably only a 3 or a 4, but it's still better than the Deluxe. If for no other reason than the legs are able to move better than the Deluxe. Take that for what you will. And so we kick things off with Jazz, and not a lick of paint on the side, not a number 4, not a colored in window, nothing. But on the top we have some very nice paint, and we have the windshield and the rear windshield filled in. I do like too that all 4 tires are pinned and they look the same. It's nice to see, because nowadays you often see like the 2 front tires match, but then the 2 back tires, the center of them is different because of the plastic pegs that they pin on over nowadays, more often than not. To do the transformation here, I'm assuming is pretty straightforward. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have instructions for this, so we're just gonna figure it out as we go. We're gonna pick off those arms on the side. And now that we got those arms off, yeah, this folds down and the toes come out, and we split the legs, and we bring this down, bring down the arms on the side, and boom, there is the transformation for our boy Jazz, all done. Let me just kind of stand him up. I mean, the transformation's pretty great. The look is definitely Jazz, as small as it is. Granted, it would be nice to have more paint on the arms instead of them just being stark white, but again, $7, right? In terms of the articulation, nothing at the head. The arms can go all the way around and kind of sort of out to the side a little bit. With modern offerings, like, I would be hard on this because of what we pay, but for $7, it's fine. Nothing at the waist, but the legs can go back, the legs can go forward, a little bit to the side, toe tilt because of transformation, and a nice deep knee. I mean, Jazz here he's not perfect, but he's probably a solid 5 or 6 for what he was for $7. Naturally, he's been updated with something kind of like this. This, of course, is the 86 version of Jazz as a Deluxe. Or you could use the Origins, or you could use the Reveal the Shield. I mean, there's lots of them around, right? You can't really do a comparison here in terms of value, but it's just interesting to see where we were compared to now, kind of where we are in the modern era. Now, next up is one of my favorites. I actually wanted this guy for a long time. I thought he was small, but I thought he embodied the character really, really well. This, of course, is Trailbreaker. And, you know, other than the windshield and the grille and the headlights, there's no paint here. There's what looks to be a gold paint blemish right there, though. The rub symbol, pretty cool. Nothing here on the back. But again, you'll notice the 4 tires. They're all nice and pinned and the same. I totally dig it. Now let's do the transformation for this guy. So the transformation here goes all the way forward. This reminds me of the Transformers Prime Viacons, how you just unfurl the whole thing. Done differently, of course, but like I get those feels from it. Split the legs. Then we come up here and we split the arms and they come down on the side. Very intuitive, very simplistic. We can even angle those all the way down. Then we bring out the head up here, and right here we angle it back. Bring the arms down. Hold on, make sure I got it all done. Make sure I got it all done. And then boom, here we have Trailbreaker, and like, I think it's great. I think the transformation is a 10. I think it's logical in terms of the look. It definitely looks like Trailbreaker. There's no doubt about it. 8, maybe? And then the articulation, I mean, nothing at the head, granted, but arms all the way around and nice T-pose all the way out. Legs forward, legs back. No real knee, that's a bit of a bummer. I guess because of transformation we have a bit of a forward and back ankle tilt, but I mean, you know, the articulation is nothing great. Again, in the modern era, I would be a lot harder on this because I expect more for the prices we're paying, but again, for $7, I mean, this sort of filled the bill pretty good. I mean, it's one of those examples where if you had waited for him to go on sale, you probably would have gone for like $3 Canadian. Yeah, he's fun for $3. Of course, we've had updates to this guy as well that kind of embody the character much better. The Earthrise Deluxe, mine got some Toy Hacks stickers applied. Mine even has a resin cast of the satellite dish that came in the Centurion pack. And if you look at the older one there, I mean, it's hard to argue that it does encapsulate the character. A lot of people think that the Earthrise one done a great job of capturing the character, and I tend to agree. Back in the day, yeah, I don't think that this was bad at all. I also won't lie, and I'll bring this up now. Most of the ones that we're looking at certainly came from 2008. Some may have came from another line slightly earlier. So, like, bear with me because I haven't gone, full bore into all the history of each of these little Legends class offerings. I do know that most of them came from an era where they were designed by Bill Raleigh. So, we're going back before Warden's time, from what I can recall. If I got any of those facts wrong, I got them wrong. But Trailbreaker so far is the best one we've looked at. I'm going to say, again, for $7, I think he's about a 7. I think he's pretty good. Next up, I remember seeing this clever little Hound, and I was like, man, I think his transformation's great, and I do. I think his transformation is brilliant. The articulation, a little something to be desired, for sure, but the look is pretty darn good. Rolls pretty great. I like this, so much so that there was an upscaled cheap KO of this that I got for $3 maybe, something like that Canadian, and they were called Franz Tromers. It was great. It was just so terrible. I loved it, but sadly that one got broken. It is what it is, right? So to do the transformation for this guy, we just flip down those legs and we flip up his feet. Very simple, very logical. The arms here come out on the side. This folds down and we split the legs. Boom. I mean, a 10 for the transformation. It's so logical, so brilliant. I love it. In terms of the look, again, like, this is a solid, bit too much green. Like, the thighs shouldn't be green, the arms all being green, but like, this is a solid 8. Like, it's Hound if you know Hound. The articulation, again, same thing with this era. I mean, these were pretty darn limited. Nothing at the head. The arm can go kind of, sort of, all the way around. It's a bit of a nuisance with the tire out here. The legs can do the splits about that far. Nothing great. Forward a little bit and back a little bit. I mean, we do have a knee though. So like, again, not stellar articulation by any stretch of the imagination. The articulation's probably a 3 or a 4, but the look is pretty darn good. And again, I'm gonna say it, sounded like a broken record for $7. Really, what would you expect? Naturally, there were other ones that came out, around that time as well that were bigger, like the deluxe, like, well, this guy. The classics, whom I adore to this day. So much so that when the Siege version came out, I reviewed it, but then I didn't want it because I preferred this one at the time. That being said, Buzzworthy Bumblebee 86 version, it's supposed to be coming as of this recording. I don't know when. I do think I would like the Siege version done in an Earth mode. Man, how far we have come. This guy was fine, fun, functional for $7. This guy was a far better deal. I can't remember what his price was, certainly higher, but still, man, what a golden era this was. And our 6th one is going to be the G2 Megatron. Again, this is one of the ones I actually saw on the hooks, like within the last couple of months. This is 2023. So within the last couple of months, it was the wildest thing to see. Rolls great, for sure, rolls great. And keep in mind, though I don't have it, we've recently gotten the core class version of a G2 Megatron. And the G1 Megatron, really, that turns into a tank that people tend to really like. I've never reviewed that, so I can't really make a solid comparison, but I will make a couple of notes as we go through, just from what I've seen and what I know of that mold. So, to do this transformation here, let's see exactly what we do. Because I don't know what we do here. I think these split? Yeah, that's gonna be his arms. They're gonna come out to the side. The legs here just fold down. And then this folds down over his chest. I'm gonna bring this up. And then I like this. The barrel is attached really to his head. Now, I mean, it does mean that wherever he looks, he has a barrel facing, but I suppose that makes sense since, let's be realistic, if he was going to be shooting at something, it'd be nice if he was looking at it. Transformation for this guy, simple, logical, it's a 10. So in terms of look for the guy, I mean, his green is too dark and his purple is too dark, but it is green and purple. The head should be silver. Not green, so like, again, you would probably know that it's Megatron, probably. This is very evocative, I think, of like, you know, that G2 body type. Like, I think the body type is there, the chest and the legs and whatnot being kind of bulky. I don't know, let's say it's an 8. In terms of the articulation for the guy, again, typical with these, arms all the way around. This one does have a head that can move. No waist, legs all the way forward, legs all the way back. Kind of out to the side a bit. Anyway, by the way, the arms can go out to the side, but it's weird. They can go all the way out to the side, actually. And real nice knee. Totally dig that. I mean, elbows would have been nice. Otherwise, again, for $7, like, I think the guy's probably a solid 8 for $7. Naturally, for me, since I like scale, I would opt for, yes indeed, the full-size Voyager one. Too bad that this guy's prone to graying, and mine's not graying yet, but I can tell you right now that the gray that's on him is a little more brownish than it ever should have been. What a crying shame, man, using cheap materials, you know? In terms of materials, by the way, this guy feels more solid, if you ask me. Just a different time. Again, we can't really compare value here because they're two different things. But if we look at you know, the core class offering, well, again, a pretty brilliant transformation, and that one does have full range of motion of the legs and the hips, and I'm assuming the head. I don't know about the head, but certainly the arms, the elbows, right? So it is about $11 more than this guy. But again, it looks more accurate, it looks more like this one, and it has more articulation, more parts count. So yeah, naturally, it is a better offering now, some 15 years later. Actually, I think that came out in 2022, so some 14 years later. Now, I know that this isn't one of the countdowns, but I do feel like that I should say that we are at the ever-popular, ever-coveted halfway mark. And before we move on and look at this hodgepodge Bumblebee, I will note now that, I didn't say it earlier, so I'll note it now. The whole reason that I thought that this was apropos now is because the mass of these guys falls in line with the mass of current, generally, core class offerings. For the most part, core class offerings in the modern age range somewhere between 17 and 23 grams-ish, roughly. There is some variation there. I think there's one, like the Ravage from Studio Series, I think is only 12 grams. I think that a couple of them might teeter on 30 grams, but generally speaking, the 17 to 23 range is what the core class offerings have. Well, these guys are generally 20 grams. The Trailbreaker we previously looked at, 20 grams of plastic. The Jazz, 20 grams. The Hound, 18 grams. And this guy, 20 grams of plastic. Now, in terms of this Bumblebee, like, I see such a weird hodgepodge here. Like, I see nods to a lot of different eras and iterations of Bumblebee with this guy. Like, I definitely see some animated takes here, right? So, let's do the transformation and see what it is that we end up with. I've also heard of some issues on this guy, so we'll have to see. I guess we will bring down the hips and the legs and stand the guy kind of up. By the way, this whole kind of transformation here, very reminiscent of what we get with like Hot Soldier's Bumblebee, or Goldbug, or Hubcap, or Cliff Jumper, for that matter. The arms. Yeah, okay, so the arms come off, and that falls down over the back, and then we bring the arms up, and boom, we have a Bumblebee. Not for nothing, and I know that the Netflix Deluxe class Bumblebee is pretty darn popular, but for me and my money, an iteration of G1 Bumblebee that is still ideal is the KBB Hornets Agent, which is an adaptation of the first New Age Bumblebee and upsized, right? I mean, this guy's a KO, sure, and it's like 46, 49 grams, so it's not really comparable. But I just wanted to point out that to me, this is still the ideal G1 Bumblebee. In terms of this guy, like, it generally looks like a version of Bumblebee. You're not going to mistake it for anyone else, that's for sure. Again, the arms go all the way around. The hips, I could see how a ball joint would break on them because they're kind of small ball joints. But as it is, the legs can go back and they can go forward. And they can go all the way out to the side, which is nice. We do have toe tilt forward and back. The arms can go all the way around, but like, if you wanted to put his arms out, man, you really can't. Bumblebee is, again, for $7, like, I would look at this and think, I guess, maybe I'll wait for it to go on sale for $2.99, like I did with that Starscream, right? It's okay, it looks like B, it's not the most functional thing in the world. And next up we have Wheelie, and Wheelie for some reason has these ugly gray tires. He rolls okay. It's definitely not his traditional alt mode, that's for sure. He is actually one of the bigger ones from this era and this range at 21 grams, compared to, for example, the Titan's Return, clocked in at 27 grams. I don't have the Studio Series 1, but I've heard that he clocks in at about 15, 17. So the Studio Series 1 a little bit smaller. The Titan's Return one a little bit bigger. And this guy kind of middle of the road, right? Again, $7. Keep that in mind. Roll's great. Very, very clear, clean roll. The legs... See if I can figure this out. The legs come down, the arms come up. Yeah, we fold down the whole chest, and I think I got the arms the right way. Yeah, I believe so. In terms of the legs, I should be able now to extend these, I thought. Pardon the cut, again, without having proper instructions. I'm just doing all this today with some guesswork. I didn't realize that we had to extend the waist down. That makes a lot more sense. And I was pretty sure that we had to get out a foot. Yes, all of that now makes sense to me. This, I guess, comes up around and tabs in right there, and boom, here we have Wheelie in his alt mode. There was a time when this was the Wheelie I wanted, and he does have like backwards knees. That would bug me. I would want proper knees, and he only has hips really out that far. The arms again go all the way around, but they do go well out. And I think there's a molded in slingshot if I'm not mistaken. Now undoubtedly the Titan's Return one is better. It has better hips, it has knees, it has elbows, it has better articulation of the arms and the head moves and everything else. The Studio Series one, that, like I said, I don't have it yet, but the way the feet flip out on that one seems reminiscent of this. For the most part, the transformation of that one seems pretty logical. I don't know how solid it is, but it certainly has more articulation. Undoubtedly, the Titan's Return or the Studio Series is better than this. But if this was only, again, we're using $7 as our benchmark, is the Titan's Return 7 or 8, well, not even 8. The Titan's Return one I think I got for maybe $8.99, $9.99. Like, it's definitely worth that. The Studio Series one, is that worth the current $16.99 or $17.99? Maybe. It definitely looks more the part of Wheelie, no doubt about it. It has more paint, I think, and he comes with a separate slingshot, I'm pretty sure. So, is it better than this? Yes. Is it $11 or so better than this guy? I don't know. Maybe. With 3 left, we go to a version of Brawn that I thought that I wanted for a long, long time. And it's a pretty neat Brawn. He rolls pretty great. Though on the top, granted, you can see some robot stuff, but you kind of got an idea of how some of this guy's gonna move, right? So we come here and we bring down the legs, and we can even split them, I guess. The arms here, they come out, and then they angle up. I thought the arms were always kind of smart on this guy. And we bring those down, we bring the waist all the way up, and boom, in the end, at his glorious 23 grams of plastic, we have Brawn. Good looking Brawn. Honestly, I think he's one of the stronger from this line because his look is pretty great. I'm going to give his look a solid 8.5, though the face is a little gloppy, I'm not going to lie. The transformation's a 10, it's fun, it's quick, it's brilliant, it's easy. The articulation for the guy, the arms can again go all the way around. Not really any out to the side, that's a bit of a bummer. Legs forward, legs all the way back. Backwards, wrong way knee again. Like, why you couldn't just have it also bend back the other way, I don't know, but whatever. I don't find that the waist tabs in, it just goes up, so you're probably going to pull that down, but I guess you can go back a little bit for action poses? I don't know. Bring those arms up. He can do splits all the way. I mean, again, the articulation is limited. I would probably wait for it to go on sale. Like, you know, that would have been me. I would have said, hey, he's neat. I would have gotten him. And I would have been like, $7 for this. I don't know. Those arms are pretty limited. I probably would have wanted it to go on sale, honestly. But for me, right now anyway, the version of Brawn that I'm happiest with is the Titan's Return. Although some people would have the Legends, I would say that the Legends is probably even a little more accurate. He's 10 grams of plastic more. So, like, when the Titan's Return came out, I said, whoa, okay, cool. I get it. You're charging me a bunch more, but you're giving me more plastic. You're giving me more paint. You're giving me better sculpt. You're giving me more articulation and better engineering. Like, all across the board. You charged me a bunch more. You gave me a bunch more. I was okay with it. This guy was fine for his time. He aged quickly. This guy's still tremendous. And you know what? We've had the Bumblebee movie version that a lot of people like as well. And I hear that we're gonna probably be getting, I want to say an 86 version of this guy that I presume would be a deluxe. But if we compare a legend to a legend, well, you know what? The Titan's Return legend, obviously much better. Cost more, gave me more. Made me a happy camper. And we only got 2 left. By the way, this Brawn, for the record, he would still clock in at probably around a 7, 7.5, something like that. Case in point at number 2, Hot Rod. And why do I say case in point? Because I just kind of talked about how, you know, I was charged more for the Titan's Return, but I thought it was better value. Well, in this case, we actually have something pretty darn recent to compare this to, being the Kingdom / I think first wave of Legacy Legends class version of Hot Rod. So we actually have something very apropos to be able to compare this guy to. Here we can roll him fine. It is a highly stylized version of Hot Rod for sure. I don't know if I said Rodimus, but I meant Hot Rod. I mean, yeah, okay, we got an idea underneath what this is going to kind of go like. To do the transformation, we bring the arms off, we bring the chest down, we bring the spoiler up over the back. I like the way the spoiler is done, actually. And I think we split the... Do we have to do anything? I don't think so. I think that might be it. Yeah, I think that might be it. Again, very simple transformation. Here is the Hot Rod, the resultant Hot Rod that we get. I mean, it's an okay look for Hot Rod. The transformation is probably a 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't know, whatever you want. Nothing at the head again. The arm goes all the way... Does it go all the way around? It can. It might get slightly caught up on the spoiler piece, but I mean, you can put that back down like this if you want. And maybe this chest piece is supposed to hang lower down over some of this. I don't know. I don't know if it's supposed to be down like that or not. It doesn't feel like it's supposed to be down like that. It feels like it's supposed to be like this. The legs can go forward. The legs can go back until they hit back here, no knee, hips, you know, kind of out to the side, right? Again, $7. It's okay. It's all right. The shoulders can sort of go out to the side a little bit. It's okay for $7. I certainly wouldn't pay more for it. Naturally, we can compare him next to, and when I got this guy, he was at the time $14.99. Now, again, because of price hikes, he would probably be $17.99. But I got him for $14.99, so we're going to say $15. $7 to $15. Is this guy $8 better? Yeah, I think so. Tons more paint. Loads more paint on the chest, on the legs, on the sides here and here, on the spoiler, like tons more paint. Much more articulation, much more engineering. It's more. It is what it is, right? So while I think that this guy, compared to say the Titans Return Brawn, is less than, I think if we go back to the kind of last time we really had a proper Legends version of Hot Rod, yeah, this guy's way better, man. This guy's way better. There's no doubt about it, right? But you could see the kind of evolution again from 15 years ago to now. And then that brings us to our 10th review. By the way, all of these guys so far have been somewhere, for the most part. I mean, Arachnid was like a 4. She wasn't great. The rest of them have been 7s and 8s. Maybe a 5 here and there, but like they're okay. They got their limits, but again, $7, right? What do you expect? But that does bring us to our last one, our 10th one, and my favorite of the bunch. Warpath. So don't get me wrong, I adore the deluxe class Warpath that came out in the Generations line. I still think to this day it's one of the best Transformers molds they ever did. I like the Kingdom Warpath, great. I didn't think the Combiner Wars Warpath was very good. It just relied on the Megatron mold, and like, you know, his chest cannon piece was on his arm, not in his chest. I said back then that I think if you had this, you should keep this. And not even bother getting the Combiner Wars one because it's not that great. Now, this guy here, again, he is not quite the right type of tank. He's more like an H-tank type of thing, but that's okay, I think, because it's a red tank, you know it's gonna be Warpath. Let's do the transformation. Again, I don't have any instructions for this, so this is gonna be interesting. We take a leg and we fold it down. We take a leg and we fold it down. Now, they do tell you to, I think, put this back in so it's not hanging out on the side, but if you do that, you're very much limiting the knee. So if it was me, or it is me, I'm leaving him out here. Honestly, I'm going to leave him out on the side. Let's see how well that works. Then we're going to take an arm. See if I can figure this out, because these like open up a certain way here. I just don't, yeah, like that. And you unpeg it and it comes down. There you go. There you go. So you unpeg it and bring it down, and then you bring out the lower arm. And then this whole section comes up over the center. And this should open up to be his head. And then that pushes all the way in like it's supposed to. And boom, in the end, here we have Warpath in his robot mode. Because I don't have those things put in the back, he doesn't necessarily want to stand the best, but there you go. Transformation 10. Look at the guy. He has the chest. He has the red. Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have the gray necessarily everywhere that it is, but honestly, 9. I wish the barrel was red instead of gray, but I'm not angry about it. I'm going to say 9. And then we get to the articulation for this guy. Remember, $7 Canadian. Actually, before I do the articulation, I thought I would show him here next to the Kingdom one, because, like it or hate it, the Kingdom one is probably the closest to a G1 iteration of this guy that we've ever gotten in terms of accuracy. And you can see that this Legends one, like, it's not too bad. All of the nods are really kind of sort of there. I mean, he doesn't have his tread feet, but I Again, they become the back of his legs, so they do kind of work as a heel spur. Like, I think they really tried here. Like I said, right now the guy's getting about a 9. In terms of the articulation, by the way, the difference in price of even these two, $7, $35. So, you know, right? It is what it is. But head doesn't really do anything. The arms can go all the way around. Not much out to the side, which is a bummer, but we do have an elbow, which is very nice. Little out to the side, but nothing much. No waist or anything. The hips can go out, you know, a little bit. Leg forward, leg back. We also have very deep knee. If you leave this out to the side, if you want a better, like, heel spur, like you want more stability, you can put them back and, like, now he stands like an absolute champion, right? And his legs do look kind of cleaner, sorta. I leave him out because I want the deeper knee, but you could kind of do what you want there. You could even take it out for a knee bend when you need it. Articulation for what this was for $7, probably about an 8. Honestly, probably about an 8. He was, and still is, really a great version, a great Legends class version of Warpath. What a wildly fun set of reviews. I think the weakest here is probably hard to say. The Bumblebee's not great because he's prone to breakage from what I've heard. The Jazz is okay. The Hound is okay. The backwards knees of Brawn and Wheelie kind of drives me a bit batty. I think the two best, from my estimation, and this is completely subjective by the way, is probably Warpath and Trailbreaker. That's probably the best in my estimation. But I wanted to go back because I get a lot of flack about the mass and the paint and, like, the analysis that I do, though I do it for me and for you to try and, like, give you the most informed, I guess, information for your buying decisions and options, right? And it's wise sometimes for us to go back in time. A, because it gives us something as a measure of comparison. And granted, all of these needed updates. All of them have had updates that have been significantly better. No doubt about it. But it's also, just plain for the second reason, fun to go back and see where we have been and where we have evolved from. Use the past, learn from the past to make sure that we as fans get the very best future for this franchise possible. Across the board, as a wave, as a line, I'm going to give them an overall score of about a 7. They probably would have got higher in their heyday at the time for what they were, but they're still kind of charming and neat in their own fun little way. And here we are once again. So I think in saying that these are worth $7, we realize that in doing so, and again, this is $7 Canadian, that in doing so, we're going to have some limited paint, Jazz being a bad offender of that. We're going to have limited articulation, a lot of them missing knees. Not all, but a lot of them missing knees, pretty much universally missing elbows, except for one, except for my favorite with Warpath. And even he wasn't perfect, but I think he was one of the strongest from that era. It's interesting to note that most of them were a solid 20 grams of plastic from that time, which is in the ballpark of what we get now with the Core Class. And originally when Core Class came out, it was meant to replace Legends. But I think now it's kind of more replacing Legion Class, but with better articulation. Case in point with Arachnid. Like, her articulation is quite limited if we compare it to even something like Dracodon or Starscream or that Optimus Prime or Nemesis Prime or the little Rat Trap. Like, they're obviously more articulated, right? And to be fair, in comparison to Arachnid, she's a measly 7 grams. I mean, they're still about 20 grams. No doubt, the new Core Class offerings are certainly better than what these were in terms of functionality. In terms of materials, these guys are pretty solid, and they do have their own charm because they are great little, what we call desk bots. They're fun to flip back and forth, and you know what? For the most part, they certainly look the part. I liked them for what they were at the time. Can't say they've all aged well, but maybe, just maybe, a few of them still stand up today. Looking at you, Warpath. Let me know which one from that era is your favorite. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and especially don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.